Fine. Next we talk about Hume-Rodri rules and isomorphous systems. What are Hume-Rodri rules? They are a set of rules which describe the conditions under which an element can dissolve in a metal and form a solid solution. Means Hume-Rodri gives us a few set of rules which will decide whether an element will dissolve in a metal and form a solution or not. Right? There are two set of rules basically: substitutional solid solutions and interstitial solid solutions. What is substitutional solid solution? Substitution solid solution means solute or impurity atoms replace or substitute host atoms. Means we have an arrangement like this. We have these are solvents, green colors are solvents and blue colors are solutes. Solute enters here and replaces the solvent metal atom. Okay, so colors are defined over here. So all these blue have replaced the green structures. Crystal structure of the parent element or solvent is unchanged, but lattice get distorted by presence of solute atoms. The crystal structure of the parent element is same, but yes, there is a slight distortion by the presence of solute atoms. Okay. The impurity doesn't disturb the crystal structure, but it gets distorted because of presence of solute atoms. I have told you. Means the structure array is not disturbed, but yes, there is a slight distortion because of solute atoms, and distortion is more if there is difference in atomic diameters of solute and solvents. Means if the atomic diameters have a considerable difference in diameter, distortion will be more. There are certain rules to be met for unlimited solubility. These rules are called as Hume-Rodri rules. First of all, it is a relative size factor. The atomic radius atoms or ions of solute and solvent must not differ by more than 15%. The atomic radius of both solute and solvent should not differ by more than 15%. If we calculate the percentage difference, then radius of solute minus radius of solvent by radius of solvent should be less than 15%. This is called as percentage difference. Then we have crystal structure factor. The crystal structures of solute and solvents must be similar. They should have a similar structure, otherwise there is a point, some point at which a transition occurs from one phase to second phase with a different structure. Means we might have a situation where there is a transition from one phase to another with a different kind of structure. Okay, so they should be similar. Okay. Then next factor which counts as a relative valency factor. Complete solubility occurs when the solvent and solute have same valency. Yes, this thing occurs when solvent and solute have same valency. Difference of valency will lead to the formation of compounds rather than solid solutions. So if there is difference of valency, it will lead to the formation of compounds rather than solid solutions. If it is not same, they will form compounds. I have told you already. If they are not same, they will form compounds instead of solid solution. A solution is by definition a mixture of two or more compounds or elements. There is no individual unit, that is atoms or molecule. A compound is a chemically unique combination of two or more elements which are bonded to each other by a chemical bond. Means there is no individual atom, there is no individual unit. Okay, it is a basically unique combination of two or more elements which are bonded together to form they are bonded together by chemical bonds, right? Chemical affinity factor. The solute and solvent should have similar chemical affinity or electronegativity. Electronegativity means the tendency to attract the shared pair of electrons towards it. If the electronegativity difference is too great, the metals tend to form. If the electronegativity difference is too great, the metals will tend to form intermetallic compounds instead of solid solutions. Okay. So what are interstitial solid solutions? First of all, these are like these green ones were having are retaining their own positions, but in between these spaces we have interstitial atoms which are which have maintained their position. They have entered into the structure. So size factor, what are the conditions for this? For say size factor, solute atoms must be smaller than the interstitial sites in the solvent lattice. Means whatever interstitial site we have, the size should be smaller than that. The blue colored should have the atoms in solute atoms are having smaller size than the interstitial space. Electronegativity, solute and solvent atoms should have similar kind of electronegativities. Yes, this is also a condition that they should have similar kind of electronegativities. Valency factor, the two elements should have same valency. The greater the difference in valency between solute and solvent atoms, the lower the solubility. So if there is more difference in valency, the solubility will be low. Hume-Rodri conditions must be met, but they are not necessarily sufficient for two metals to have unlimited solid solubility. Yes, they should be met, but that is not the sufficient condition. They are to some extent, yes, they should be met, but it is not necessary that whenever they are met, it will have a perfect condition. No. We have an example here right now. We have copper and silver metals. They satisfy all above rules, but they do not form a continuous series of solid solutions. Rather, they form eutectic mixtures. Okay, these are called as eutectic mixtures. What is a eutectic mixture? It is a mixture of two or more compounds which do not interact to form a new chemical compound. Okay, it is a mixture of two or more compounds which do not interact to form a new chemical compound, which at a certain ratio hinder the crystallization process of one another, resulting in a system which will have a lower melting point than either of its compound. Means it hinders the crystallization process of one another and gives us a system which has a lower melting point than either of its compounds. Okay, so this is what is called a eutectic mixture. So it has a lower melting point than any other of its compounds. Fine. Isomorphous systems. What are isomorphous systems? If two elements are completely soluble in each other in solid as well as liquid state, it is said to be a binary law. We know this thing, right? Means if we have a single type of crystal structure exists for all range of components. Means we have in this case we have a single type of crystal structure which exists for all composition range of components. These systems are called as isomorphous systems and are formed only if they satisfy Hume-Rodri rule. Yes, these are formed only if they satisfy Hume-Rodri rule. Conditions for isomorphous system are that they should obey Hume-Rodri rule, and we have an example over here which is a composition of alloy of basically copper and nickel. We have weight percentage on abscissa and we have temperature on ordinate. This is the temperature has been plotted on ordinate and chemical composition abscissa, right? We have done that. I've told you that. So now what is happening? See, this arrangement is giving us, like, if we see the abscissa, we have copper on left hand side 100% and it goes on decreasing, whereas nickel is 0 on left hand side and it goes on increasing on the right hand side. Okay, means if it is 100%, then the one decreases, the other increases, and on the y-axis we have temperature. I'm giving you an example. At 1300 degrees Celsius, we have 45% nickel and 55% copper. At which point? At this point, when it is liquid. When this combination is liquid, we will have 45% nickel and 55% copper. Okay, so when we go to when the nickel percentage is changed, it becomes like on the solid solution side, like at 1300, I have 2 points with me. One here means this is 45% nickel and 55% copper. This is 55%, not 53%. This is 55%. Means at this, when the ratio is 45 and 55, it is a liquid, right? And on the other hand, if I go to the right side, we have a combination which has changed, means nickel is now 58% and copper is lesser amount because copper is decreasing. So this side we have a solidus line. This is a solidus line. Below this line we have all solids. Below the liquidus line we have all liquids. The whole solution will be liquid solution above liquidus line, and below solidus line it will be solid. So we have three different phase regions appearing in the solid diagram: alpha solid solution, liquid, and alpha plus liquid. This below the solidus line, this is alpha plus liquid, and on top of it there is liquid. Alpha, this is combination of liquid plus solid, right? This is solid, and upper to that is just liquid. Okay, so this is solid. I can say this is liquid, and this is alpha plus liquid. So copper and nickel are soluble in each other in solid state. This takes place only if we have identical atomic radius, identical electronegativities, and identical valencies as per requirements of Hume-Rothery rule. Yes. And in a way we can say that copper nickel system is isomorphous, since they are completely soluble in each other in liquid as well as solid state. Between solid and liquid, we have solidus and liquidus lines which contain combination of liquid and solid in between. So looking at the graph, we come to know the composition of nickel and copper at different temperature values, indicating the state whether solid or liquid. Yes. So from graphs we come to know what will be the state at what temperature. Means as at 1300 degrees Celsius I have two positions, like left hand side I have solid and extreme right hand side we have liquid, because the percentage changes. As the percentage changes, my physical conditions will vary at a given value of temperature. This is what the isomorphous system shows us, and this is how our phase diagram is basically telling us that at what temperature what thing is appearing. Okay, thank you.